What's going on, guys? I am back. I'm super excited to be doing my first reaction video in about 2 weeks. And I saw this video and thought it'd be really interesting to check out 25 areas in which the UK totally triumphs over the US. You know, I have some ideas of what some of these on this list are, but considering this is 25 different areas that the UK totally beats the US in, I'm guessing there's going to be a number of these that I had no clue about. This is actually a fairly short video, around 6 minutes, so he must be going through these rather quickly. So anyways, guys, don't really know what to expect here. Let's just go ahead and dive in and check out these 25 areas in which the United Kingdom totally triumphs over the United States.
I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 areas in which the United Kingdom totally triumphs over the United States. All right, let's get this out of the way. This list is meant to be a joke. I love the US and I love the UK. I'm not trying to start a war. This entire list is meant to be in good humor. So please, please, please don't take offense.
Why would I be offended over facts? That's just kind of weird. You know, I want to put this out there, guys, that I will never be offended because of the truth. To me, truth is one of, if not the most important value in my life. And I'll never be the type of person that prefers to live in delusion or believe a bunch of lies over knowing the truth. I 100% of the time, no matter how it feels or what it is, I always would prefer to know the truth over continue to believe a bunch of lies or whatever. So I just don't understand people who get offended because of truth. Truth is just truth. It's not something that anyone should really be offended about. They should be happy to know the truth. But anyway, let's continue.
'25. Displaying actual prices.
Oh, yeah.
In most US states, you don't pay the price on the product. You pay the price plus the tax. In Britain, the tax is included. 24. Complaining. Nobody complains better than the British.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. Is that true? Do you guys complain a lot? You know, I know you guys talk about the weather a lot, but I haven't heard the complaining one before.
Nobody. 23. Documentaries. 2 words. David Attenborough. 22. Electric plugs.
I know that one.
First of all, the voltage is higher. It's 220 versus only 110. But guess what? British plugs also have significantly better safety features. More power, more safety.
Yeah, I reacted to a video a while back, a very brief video about British plugs, and it was really interesting. You guys really do have some awesome plugs, but there's another video a lot of people have recommended that I check out that goes even more in depth about British plugs. It's kind of hard to believe there would be more to talk about, but supposedly there's a lot more to learn about British plugs than I even learned in that previous video. So I'm probably going to check that out sometime soon because it's just really interesting. It's definitely different from what we have here in the US.
21. Bathrooms. In America, if someone wants to check if a stall is occupied, they just peek through the gap.
Yes.
In Britain, this would never work. There is no gap. 20.
So you guys don't have those stupid gaps in the doors and like underneath there's like 2 feet to where you could just like, hey, what you doing in there? So you guys don't have those. I don't know why we have those in the US. It's just really ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. It's like the manufacturers of the stalls are like, I guess they're just trying to save money on material. I have no idea what purpose that serves. It's just really weird. It doesn't make any sense. If someone knows why in the US, I didn't know for a fact that was necessarily a thing in the UK that you guys didn't have those stalls, but why in the US do we have these ridiculous stalls that people can just peek in to while someone's in there? It just doesn't make sense at all.
Roundabouts.
Yes.
The British obsession with these is warranted. Even the Mythbusters showed they were more effective than traffic lights.
Yeah, I've since learned that those do handle traffic very well. I reacted to specifically, what man, where's it called? Man, I can't remember the city it was in the UK, but man, it was a crazy roundabout. I can't even imagine driving it, but I imagine once you actually get used to it, it handles traffic really, really well.
19.
Messing with France. As the British say, France is a beautiful country. The only downside is that it's filled with the French people. C'est seulement un blog. Nous vous aimons. Allons-y.
18.
Having their flag put on other flags.
Yes,
Even a US
that's
state
true.
has
That's
the
true.
Union Jack on it. Hawaii.
17.
Losing at their own sports. Britain invents soccer, that's why they used to call it that, and then can't win at it. America invents basketball, and then can't lose at it.
That's interesting. So I don't really know much about soccer or what you guys call football. I haven't really looked into it too much, but what's he mean by Britain can't win at that sport? I mean, there's a lot of different, football teams throughout the UK, and I'm sure, or are they saying nationally? I got to look into that. I really don't know much about that sport, to be honest. I played it when I was younger, but I've never really watched it. It's definitely something I need to do sometime soon.
16.
Cops. On average, American police kill more civilians in 1 month than British police kill in 2 decades.
Wow.
15.
Electing third-party candidates.
Yes.
Okay, it's not like this happens regularly, but it definitely happens more than never. And that is exactly how often it happens in the US.
Yes. This is one that it drives me crazy in the US. I think most people in the US, at least I am so tired of our two-party system. I so wish we could get a third party in there. I voted third party quite a number of times in my life because the two-party system, they just continue to stab the American people in the back. And I'm sure you guys experienced that with your main parties as well in the UK, but at least you have the opportunity to get a third party in there. In the US, we can't even get a third party person on the debate stage because the powers that be just won't allow it. And it's disgusting, it really is. And it makes it to where the voice of the people is not really fully heard because it's just these two parties that most of the politicians in both these parties are sold out. And it's ridiculous. Anyway, I could rant for a whole video on that one. So, but I won't on this one.
14.
Date format. Smallest to largest. Doesn't that make sense?
I mean, I've heard that said, and I understand the concept. But to be honest, I prefer the way it's wrote in the US. And some people will say, well, that's because you're used to it. It's just the way I say it. And I think most people probably say it like that as well. Generally speaking, the way we write in the US tends to be the way we speak in the order of the words that come out of our mouth. So, for example, maybe you guys in the UK may do, I don't know, let's say, I would say January 12th, 2023. Right. And that's the way we write it. January 12th, 2023. That's the reason it's wrote like that. It's because that's the way it's spoke in that order. You guys, I don't know. Would you say January 23rd, 2023? Or would you say 23rd? Wait, how would that go? I don't even know. How would that go? I got to look that up. I haven't seen the way those dates are wrote in a while. But I got to look into that. That'd be interesting.
13.
Understating things. During World War II, when Britain was being bombed almost constantly, Churchill referred to it as the unpleasantness. That just about sums it up.
12.
Cheaper real food. In the US, only fake food is cheaper.
Yes, he kept it short because that's all it needed to be said. In the US, I've thought about this on other videos, but in the US, and I think a lot of you know, if you go into the grocery stores and you look at the, more processed food, it is absolutely horrifying. You guys in the UK, you have it much easier in terms of being able to find processed food with at least higher quality ingredients. You're going to have way less of the garbage in your processed food. And on top of that, like you said, it's just really much cheaper from what I've seen in certain videos to just purchase produce. I don't know about meat, but definitely produce and grains and eggs and dairy. All that stuff tends to be much cheaper in the UK. I want to continue exploring that topic. I really enjoy the food topic because it's just insane what I've learned so far on this journey, the difference in the quality of food between the UK and the US. It's just, it doesn't even make sense. It's almost like they're trying to poison people in the US on purpose because it just doesn't make any sense otherwise. They actually go out of their way to add extra ingredients in US processed food. Just look at the ingredients at the US versus UK McDonald's. I actually did a reaction to that a number of months ago, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting how the US food system is compared to the UK food system.
11.
The metric system. They don't do it perfectly, but they definitely do it better.
I reacted to one video about this, and I do think in some regards it is easier. I have another video some people have recommended that I check out that goes in a little more in depth about the metric system, and I'm probably going to do that sometime soon just to kind of continue exploring that topic.
10.
Tea. In Britain, teas are small, hot, and lightly sweetened. In the US, they're big, cold, and stuffed with diabetes.
That's so true. Man, I can't tell you how many people always looked at me like I was weird because I didn't like sweet tea. Everybody from where I'm from drinks ice cold sweet tea. Now, I like my beverages ice cold. I like a lot of ice in my beverages, and we've had that discussion on this channel before. It's just, I enjoy ice, and we get free refills in the US, so it's really not as big of a deal as it would be in the UK. In the UK, I can understand why you wouldn't want a ton of ice if you're going out to get a beverage somewhere because you're unlikely to get the free refill. But the tea thing, I really don't drink tea in general. I will try, British tea at some point because I know you guys love it. You drink it all the time, and I'm going to guess that it's going to be much better than tea that I would find in the US. I've actually seen images of the tea in the UK, and it's like, it almost looks like coffee. It's like you add milk and all sorts of stuff, and it's just, that's something we generally don't do in the US. So I think it may be a much more enjoyable experience drinking tea in the UK versus the US. I just realized his video format here is going so quickly. It's gotten me speaking very quickly. I need to slow it down a little bit. Let's continue.
9.
Playing the villain. If the bad guy isn't Russian,
That's very
he's
true.
British.
That's very true.
8.
The accent does lend itself well to the villain in certain action movies, and I don't understand why that is. And obviously, it's probably not going to be every British or accent throughout the UK. For example, I have heard certain accents in the UK that I don't think would be do very well as a villain accent, but the traditional, I don't know, is it like the London area accent seems to be very good at the villain for some reason.
Empire. Even
No.
today,
Yeah,
the Queen is
that's
still
obvious.
the head of
Yes.
state in
Yes.
15 different countries.
7.
Rolling cheese. Only in Britain will you find a bunch of people chasing cheese down a hill. Cooper's Hill cheese rolling and wake.
Yeah, I actually reacted to cheese rolling. When was that? Maybe about 6 months or so ago. And it was hilarious. I've never seen a sport quite like that. I don't think we have anything like that in the US, but it was definitely a very unique sport, to say the least.
6.
NHS. In the US, people declare bankruptcy because of hospital visits. In the UK, you don't. As a note, the NHS is paid for by taxes, but even then, the US spends over $8,000 per person every year for healthcare, while in the UK, it's only around $3,000.
Wow. You know, I've done a few different reactions about the NHS. I think I've reacted to 3 different videos about the NHS at this point, and it's definitely completely different from what I'm used to in the US. I can only imagine how freeing it would be in a lot of ways to be able to go to the doctor or the hospital without having to worry about a bill. And not just that, we also have to cover our own premiums, and then there's the deductibles and the co-pays. I definitely want to explore the NHS a little bit deeper at some point because I think I still have a lot to learn about how it operates and whatnot. But we'll definitely do that at some point in the near future.
5,
Marketing. Or rather, the lack of it. In America, they actually stop live sporting events for the sake of adverts. And let's not get started on infomercials or medication advertisements.
4,
Wait, you guys don't have to deal with like marketing in the middle of a sports game, for example? That's crazy, man. I've never, like, we have commercials in everything, and they're literally usually like every couple of minutes, it seems like, which I don't mind some commercials, you know, that's fine. But it does get old when they're literally every few minutes, and the pharmaceutical companies' commercials are absolutely annoying. You know, the fact you guys don't have to deal with drug commercials is amazing. And I think I remember hearing that you guys didn't have to deal with lawyer advertisements that much either, which is a blessing. You know, if I want a lawyer, I will go and I will look it up myself. You know what I mean? I don't need to get them advertising to me in the middle of a basketball game. But anyways, I digress. Let's continue.
4,
Keeping calm. Just check the news coverage of Ebola. In the US, you would think the world was ending. In the UK, it was just another news story.
3,
What a blessing that would be, guys. Yeah, he's absolutely right. It's like the media in the US spins everything to be way worse than it is. It's just like because they know that gets clicks, and they just want to push that fear narrative, really, that negative narrative constantly. And if you guys don't have to deal with that in the UK, just know that is a blessing, because that is something that we constantly have to deal with in the US. They are constantly blowing everything out of proportion because they know that it gets them attention.
3,
Taxes. For the Americans out there, in Britain you have PAYE. It's how the government collects taxes, and it's incredibly convenient. As an employee, you don't have to fill out a single form, ever. In the US, the IRS could implement this system as well, but the tax industry is a huge lobby, so don't expect to stop filling out W-2 forms or 1099 forms anytime soon.
2,
I did one video about UK versus US taxes, and I found it very interesting. You know, learning for the first time that you guys don't even generally have to file your taxes. Obviously, if you have a business and you're self-employed, I think you have to file taxes somehow, because you obviously have to pay your taxes in some way. But for most people, they never even, they never get a W-2. They never have to like actually do anything to pay their taxes. And if somehow their company actually overpays taxes into them, they just get a refund in the mail. Definitely very convenient. Definitely not a system that I've ever experienced. But I can understand how that would be nice for the average person, not ever having to worry about that.
News. The BBC. Need I say more? As a note, the US has NPR, but nobody listens to that. It's not sensational enough. Let's get some CNN and Fox up in here.
Let's don't. I've said it many times. I don't do the mainstream media. I will get my news all online. And the mainstream media has been caught lying enough. It doesn't matter what channel it is. They all lie. They all sensationalize everything just to get clicks and just get viewers. And I just, not my thing. So stay away. I don't really know enough about the BBC to have an opinion on them. I've never really watched them. I watched a funny adverts or funny bloopers of the BBC, and that was pretty hilarious. I think I actually did 2 of them. I think I did a news one, like a news bloopers, and then a weather bloopers or something. And I definitely want to do more of those in the future. I think they're absolutely hilarious. But as for BBC News itself, I've never really watched it because, you know, number one, I don't have cable, and I'm guessing maybe you could get BBC News here. But I mean, I've seen a few clips here or there online or whatever, but not enough to really have an opinion on BBC. Let me know in the comments what you think of BBC, because I might look into them a little bit deeper at some point.
1.
Faster internet. Dear America, you invented this thing. Why does Mount Everest have faster internet than you? Enjoy.
Is that true? I don't know. I think that depends on the area. Let me know in the comments, what is your internet speed? Is that true that on average, maybe that's what it is, on average, the UK has faster internet? I would say that I could see that being the case because when it comes to the fact of how big the US, there is, you know, overall, there's a ton more space that is very, very rural. And meaning that there's probably a lot more people that live in rural areas out of the cities. And so if you've got more people living in cities or at least in decent sized towns, they're probably going to have faster internet than, you know, rural areas, unfortunately. As for me, I have, what do I have? I have gig internet. So, I mean, it's, you know, obviously because I use Wi-Fi most of the time, I generally don't get the full gig, but I still get, like 500, 600, 700 megs, you know, even on Wi-Fi. So I have very fast internet, but I haven't always had fast internet like this. It depends on where I've lived. And so in certain areas, you definitely don't. But anyways, guys, I thought this was a really interesting list. He definitely had me speeding up my talking a bit because you know, the format of the video was going very, very fast. But I definitely learned a few new things on here. But one thing that really I find interesting and it makes me happy is that through this list of 25 things, there are a ton of things that I already knew since I've been on this video that I've learned. I mean, since I've been on this journey that I've learned. And it just goes to show that, you know, I really am learning a ton on this journey. And so it just makes me happy that as I was exploring this list on this video, that a number of the things I already knew about. But yeah, there were still a number of things that I didn't know about that I learned that I've got to go and explore a little bit deeper at some point. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.